Hi, we're here at the Open RAN North America event, which was the same site as the 5G Transport and Networking Strategies event earlier this week. I'm here with Gabriel Brown. Hi, Gabe. How are you?
Hey, Phil. Yeah, not too bad, thanks.
Good.
Even though I've been at a conference for 2 days.
It's been a lot, and there's been a lot of stuff to take in. I kind of want to go back to the very beginning of the 5G Transport conference because we were talking about, or you were talking about on stage, kind of just how the 5G market's evolving. And I found it interesting that the U.S. carriers are kind of in a different spot than a lot of the carriers around the world in terms of getting the balance right for ARPU, for what they're spending on their network. What was the sort of the overall takeaway from that observation?
Yeah, so in some of these events, we go relatively deep on some of the technologies and things like that. But to really put that in context, you do need a sort of a market view. Mm-hmm. So I just gave a bit of an overview. Your point is, yes, the US market is actually a pretty good place. US wireless market overall is working well as an ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So for example, customers get good service. I know you Americans, they kind of expect good service.
We complain a lot, but we do get good service.
You pretty much get good service, but you pay for the privilege. So as a rough rule of thumb, smartphone ARPU postpay in the US is about twice what it is in the UK. Now, given the population size of the US as well, it's therefore a vastly bigger market.
Yeah. What's
great is the operators are recycling a lot of that revenue back into network investment. It is happening. I mean, right now in 21, 22, and it will be in 23 as well, we're right in the kind of crucible of an absolutely massive build out here in the US with mid-band, whether that's 2.5 or C-band.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting too, because however much we Americans complain about our cell service, I haven't really spoken to anyone who's got it worse now than they had a couple of years ago. Like it's progressively getting better. And say what you want about 5G coverage not being great in some areas or whatever, but overall the service, it's clear that they're investing in the networks because the service is improving. In that vein, what did you see from your on your way to the event from the airport? Because I think that kind of tells you a little bit about how the market's evolving as well.
Yeah, it does. So I haven't been to New York for at least since 2019, I think, with COVID and everything like that. But so you're getting a ride in from JFK into town along, I think it's called the Van Wyck Expressway,
yes,
where you come in. And so now all those tall buildings along the highway, they've always had cell antenna systems, but they are now festooned with mid-band. You can see they're the smaller square radios. Yeah. And so there's been this huge investment across the US in the past couple of years, and that's, you can see it if you just look up, as it were. Yeah. They're absolutely everywhere, and it's a manifestation of it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how the physical antennas are showing up when we used to complain about I guess when fiber build-outs were happening, we complained about street furniture in neighborhoods and stuff like that, and now it's rooftop litter. it's just these antennas everywhere, but it does tell you the investments are being made, services being turned on, and clearly the carriers feel like there's a lot more upside ahead. As far as the RAN goes, just to put you on the spot a bit, was there any, I guess, architectural changes that stood out to you that carriers are making as they're sort of absorbing more 5G subscribers and hoping to provide more 5G services?
Yeah, I mean, the really important and biggest question in RAN architecture for 5G now is this next phase of the evolution. We have non-standalone. We have overnight operators relatively have been able to double capacity in their networks. That has a knock-on. It's good for customer service and so forth. The next move is to go to this standalone model. So that itself is a very complex transition. Yeah. And so all sympathies with operator engineering teams trying to figure it out. There's lots of implications for how they use their spectrum, how they refarm from 4G to 5G, how they move devices over, how they integrate that into a operational system that's better. It has to be better than what we already have today.
Right. Yeah. That's where their business kind of depends on it being not just another version of the same service. It has to be a completely different platform so they can offer differentiated services. That was the takeaway too, that we don't really feel like we've won until we're offering a service that we simply couldn't offer on any other network. Were there any other kind of high-level takeaways from the 5G transport event? Because that one to me is just one of the few places where we talk about both the underlying optical layer and the radio connections all in the same spot, and we just keep volleying back and forth. It gives you a really it's a lot to absorb, but it's a really good understanding of what's happening in the market.
Yeah, that's kind of why we do the event, because we're trying to put optical, packet, radio, mobility, put all those pieces together. That's what a system is. That's what a mobile network fundamentally is. I mean, I think the main finding really is how the different teams from an operator or a vendor or any other interested party actually just need to collaborate so much. There's so many tight links between transport and radio performance, between mobility and your topology.
Yeah.
Even as a customer, how do I access a particular service from, let's say, the internet or someone's caching site or some other edge data center, something like that? And it's all wrapped into this system that each part has to collaborate, and each constituency has to collaborate with their peers.
Any predictions about what we might be talking about in this space next year? Maybe the advent of private 5G as like a major market force or something like that?
I think honestly we'll probably be talking about the same kinds of things. I think one thing is, we want to, what's the next, what's the hottest, but these things just take a time.
Yeah.
And so it's,
it'll be more about each operator showing progress in their own way and sort of, getting closer to what they think is the optimal network.
Yeah, just moving one step to the next, making these transitions take, years, let's say 10 years for a typical telecom cycle.
Right, yeah.
So keep that in mind. That said, yes, private 5G is getting, very interesting. That's kind of its own topic again. You've then got to align with, well, what does the enterprise want? What are their What are their time cycles? If it's someone who owns industrial equipment or heavy plant, what upgrade cycle are they on? So again, it's yet another round of synchronizing with different constituencies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, let's leave it there for now, and hopefully we'll see you sooner than next year. But Gabe, thanks so much.
Cheers, Phil.